So today's episode came out of a group me chat. I have a group me chat with a bunch of ex-Olympic hockey players. It's one of my favorite things. They're funny, they're sharp, they're interesting. And the group me started blowing up last week when the International Hockey Federation canceled the Women's World Tournament, which was supposed to be, I think, May 5th in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So just for context, and we'll get into this in the discussion, the tournament was canceled the day before the women were supposed to board a plane to get to Nova Scotia. There was very little explanation about it. There's an extreme injustice because the men's tournament did not get canceled and had contingency plans that the women's tournament did not. And what this discussion is about is a firsthand look of what that does to an Olympic level player when she spends her life and her career training for a moment and to have that moment disappear. What I'm really inspired by these women is not only their strength on the ice, but also their grit and their heart and the way that they have given themselves to a sport which has frankly given them very, very little in return in the ability of having a consistent place to play, having teams that are viable to play on, being able to make a living wage, being able to dedicate themselves to their sport and to put their best selves and their best game on the ice. So this is a conversation about women's hockey. It's a conversation about the Worlds and the cancellation. And it's a conversation about three amazing people, Brianna Decker, Alex Rigby, and Haley Skarupa. Okay, great. So this is a stud-packed episode. I actually am a little starstruck in this episode, to be honest with you. We have three fantastic athletes, three pro athletes. We've got Brianna Decker, who I will just flat out say is my favorite person to watch in hockey, period, man or woman or other. She is the bomb. She has 164 points over 134 games. She's played with Team USA forever. She's a two-time Olympic medalist. She's a seven-time world champion. She's a national champion from the University of Wisconsin. She has played in whatever professional league has been made available, which we will get into in a minute. And Brianna, we're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
All right. Then next up, we've got Haley Skarupa. So Haley is my group me friend. Texting with Haley Skarupa is one of my top 10 favorite things to do ever. Haley is a Boston College grad, so we always love to support the great state of Massachusetts. She has 244 points over 144 games played. If I was you, Haley, I would have this like tattooed on me. She's the second highest scorer in Boston College history for men or women's hockey. This is insane given the legacy of Boston College hockey. She played for the NWHL. She's played for the Pride. She's played for the Whale. She's played for Team USA since 2009. She is a goal-scoring machine, 57 points over 72 games played. She has 3 gold medals at the World Championship. She has an Olympic gold medal. She is a hockey ambassador for the Washington Capitals, go Ovi, and she plays for the PWHPA. So welcome, Haley.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And then bringing up the rear, we have Alex. So I always love having a goalie. I'm partial to the goalies. So Alex Rigsby is a goaltender. She is a University of Wisconsin grad. She was a national champion in 2011. She's a 5-time world champion gold medalist. She's an Olympic gold medalist. She's the first woman ever to be drafted to the United States Hockey League, which, by the way, is a men's league. Speaking of women just trying to play wherever they can. Didn't ultimately make the cut, but she almost got herself there. She plays for the PWHPA along with Brianna, has played and represented Team USA, and is currently, I think, trying to get on the ice at a hockey rink and is talking to us literally like from sitting on the bench outside of the rink. So welcome, Alex.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So let's just hand it to the three of you. Give us, people know I'm obsessed with women's hockey, but give us the lowdown, like what's happening right now in women's hockey. Very big loaded question. Can start anywhere.
Not much is happening.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, from a U.S. standpoint, USA Hockey standpoint, we recently been told our World Championships have been canceled. So Alex and I, and obviously the rest of our team, were just training in Portland, Maine for about a week, prepping for World Championships. And the day before we were supposed to leave, everything we were told that everything was canceled. The tournament was canceled. So we were like ready to head into a 8-day isolation period prior to the World Championships. So let me tell you, we had about 100 snacks each. We were all ready to go. Everyone, from staff down, they gave us everything we needed for an 8-day period of not seeing anybody else. So we were ready to go. And yeah, the day before we were told everything was canceled.
And give some context, Brianna, of the men. So this is for the world. So actually, let's take a quick step back for people who don't understand hockey and the stature of this tournament. Like, just give a perspective of what a big deal it is. And also, I think the last time there was a women's tournament was 720 something days ago. Is that right?
Yes, 700 plus days is what I've been saying. So I don't know the exact number, but basically, so we have World Championships every spring on a non-pandemic year. Like, everything falls around beginning of April, and that's like our big tournament of the year. That's what we prep for when the Olympics aren't going on. So every 4 years, Olympics happen, but every year besides that year, we have World Championships. So that's what we're obviously training for, and we're training to make every single camp. We have about 3 or 4 camps a year that we have to try out to basically make the team and get a spot on the team. So there's a lot of pressure throughout the year, but obviously with this last year, last year Worlds getting canceled and then World Championships again getting canceled, we honestly didn't think that there would be even a chance of having the World Championships canceled this year, because there's been obviously boys events that have happened. World Juniors happened in January, so we were like ready to go, and for it to get canceled the day before was just devastating for us.
Yeah, totally. And I think that people don't appreciate, first of all, how hard you guys work. Like, it's not casual training. You guys are playing intensely. You're gearing your whole year. You're focusing months of time and effort towards one tournament. Just for context for anybody listening to this, there has not been a women's tournament in Brianna's 700 plus days. There have been 7 men's tournaments in that time. So the thing that I think is such fucking bullshit is that the men's tournaments can still happen, but somehow the women's tournaments aren't ever able to be pulled off. So in the case of the Worlds, which were supposed to happen in Halifax, they were supposed to happen in Halifax last spring. I remember I was trying to go, and the men's or the boys' Worlds moved to Texas because, as everybody knows, there's no COVID in Texas and life's open and free. So the men go to Texas, and the women, the day before you're supposed to go, after you have your 100 snacks and you've put your 500 hours on the ice, people are just like, hey, sorry ladies, this can't happen. Talk about the reaction. Talk about how gutting that is, and what that's done for you guys, your morale. Just give a sense of what that feels like for you.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. 7 tournaments have happened with the men since we've played our last one. And I think the hardest thing was we watched the, World Juniors happen in Edmonton back in December. And for us, it's so exciting to watch that. It's so exciting to have that, see that USA rivalry with all other countries, and, they were able to win and whatnot. But so for it to happen in Edmonton, in Canada, and then finally ours got postponed, got rescheduled. So for us, we're like, we just need to get to pre-camp. If we can all get to pre-camp, all stay negative, not testing positive. I mean, I think we had a training camp and then 2 weeks. And then within those 2 weeks between the training camps, I think we tested 5 times. I personally tested 5 times. And so we had a strict protocol. We were all in isolation pretty much leading into this. And then for us to get to Portland, Maine, it kind of was this relief. It's like, okay, we've made it. We're finally together with the team. World Championships are happening. They've been postponed. They've been rescheduled. This is great. We have a 30-page protocol happening. You just don't think that the worst of the worst could possibly happen. And so for us, it happened on the last day of our training camp. I guess our coaches and GM found out, mid-scrimmage or beginning of scrimmage, and let us play out, because they're like, this is such a valuable opportunity for you guys to have. And we weren't about to take away one of our little tiny touches that we've had all year. And so for us, when we found out that news, I mean, it was absolutely crushing to work so hard for this opportunity as a team as an individual to get to this point. I mean, we've sacrificed so much, and it was just gut-wrenching, you know, have it be taken away after so many things were, you know, in motion. And you just think about all the different countries who are having to fly over charter planes to get there. And, you know, everyone's had a training camp, everyone had been in isolation. And for us now, we don't know what we're looking for. We don't know what we're looking forward to, like what we're training for at this point. It's kind of been the story for the last however many years now, is when's the next time we're going to compete? When's the next time we're going to get together? And I think that's, you know, one of the hardest things for all of us now. It's like we constantly are getting shut down. We're constantly, you know, having camps scheduled, having them canceled, having tournaments scheduled, having them canceled. And after a while, it's draining. It's exhausting. You know, we're trying to get back into it. I'm trying to get a skate in, you know, after this today. And it's hard. It's hard to stay motivated in a time like this. But, you know, we have to, once again, hold our breath, and hopefully our tournament can get rescheduled at some point.
You know, it's so shocking where you look at the men's tournament in Edmonton, like televised all over TSN. Bauer makes the gorgeous, like, here's your country skate. Like, everything is so rosy. Everyone's rooting for someone. Like, it was an amazing series. I thought it was awesome hockey. I just don't understand why the women's tournaments can't happen. Is it money? Is it that it's an afterthought? Like, I don't want to put you guys in an uncomfortable spot, but I just truly, like, on a gender basis, if you're the International Hockey Federation or whatever IIHF stands for, like, don't you have an obligation for parity?
I just personally think that we're an afterthought. Like, I bet you most of the population out there didn't even know that, like, the U18 women's tournament was canceled, that it even goes on. But that was canceled this year too. And I just feel like we're an afterthought. Yeah, maybe we don't bring in the amount of money that a men's tournament does. But right now, most places couldn't even have fans anyways. So that money is out the door as well. So for us just to not be able to have a tournament is ridiculous. And I just think that they needed to find a way to have it happen. If Halifax couldn't host it from a safety standpoint and the health regulation up there, they needed to have a plan B, and they didn't have a plan B for us. And they needed to figure out how we could have that. I mean, it could have been in the middle of nowhere in Canada because we can't have fans anyways, but they could have made it happen, I think.
Yeah, I think the thing that's so outrageous, kind of to your point and Alex's point, Brianna, is that, like, you guys will do pretty much anything. You're like, oh, like, go into the woods and get on a pond and play a scrimmage. You guys will be like, okay, that sounds good. Like, I think that's I'm so inspired by you, because through so much adversity, through so much lack of clarity, with zero to less than zero financial gain. Like, we all were talking last night, and it's like, women's hockey, the only sport you, like, get in debt from playing. But you understand why, which is Alex can't have a real job. Brianna can't have a job. You don't know if you're playing hockey or not. You're trying to live your dream. You are the top of your sport, and you want that chance to shine and compete and to win. And that's what sport's all about. And to just continually have the sand shift underneath you is just devastating. And it's also, I think it's paralyzing. Like, I don't know how you ever feel finished or concluded. Like, Haley, I want to hear from you. Like, we have a joke of, like, women's hockey where the average, retirement age is 24. So, like, what's your perspective on this?
Yeah, I mean, well, to speak on, like, it's such an easy excuse to say women's hockey doesn't generate as much money, so we're not going to put as much attention because they don't, they're not as strong, they're not as fast, they don't sell as many tickets. And we've heard that for so many years. And I think it's just an easy excuse for people to say. And to put it also into context, I was really following the NCAA March Madness thing with the gym, which was absolutely ridiculous. First of all, that the women got 2 dumbbells and a mat, and you saw what the men got on the other side, and it was really cool.
But Haley, there was not enough space.
I know, exactly, because there was enough space. Again, what type of an excuse is that? But they used, like, their voice, they spoke up, and Dick's Sporting Goods and the people who came forward and helped them quickly, it was awesome to see. And they were able to perform and train and all of that. And you look here with women's hockey, and they don't even have the opportunity to have a bad gym for a tournament because their tournament was canceled. And that's when I kind of look like they don't even have a tournament to train at, which obviously breaks my heart being on the other side of it now. I was on the national team, and now I kind of see the perspective from the outside, and it's like, it's just the lack of respect, really, and the easy excuses to take the easy way out. And it always comes off as like, we get these frequent comments like, oh, they're complaining, like women's hockey players, they just continue complaining, like go back to the kitchen where you came from kind of thing. And it's like, it's 2021. And like these players like don't always want to speak up because they don't want to come off as complaining, but all these years they give and they give, they go out of their way to provide these experiences for little girls to, you know, these events, these appearances, camps, clinics. And I mean, we have always loved to do that. But at what point can, you know, these national team players like take, you know, like when are they going to get these consistent opportunities and support from the IIHF, like, and all of these organizations? It's kind of ridiculous to see how long it's gone on for, and how, like, with the culture of women's hockey, we can't always feel like we can speak up because it comes off as complaining. When you see what these players do behind the scenes, I see it now not playing. I lived it and saw it with them, and now I see it on the other side, and it's crazy to see everything they put into it, and they don't get anything out of it.
Yeah, it's almost like hockey's behind too. Like when the women's tournament happened and the weight room and the food, the thing that I loved about the players was they were so damn funny about it. Like the videos about the food, I mean, I could have watched those all day. Like they were so charming in show. It was so sad, but it was also brilliant. I think the way that they made such a headlining story, just a headlining story about it in a way that was just like, this is our life. And I honestly feel like that's what you guys are saying. I don't think, I mean, honestly, if I look at you, Brianna or Alex, it's not like you're like stomping your fist or having a tantrum. You're basically being like, hey, we'd like to play a tournament. Like you'll quarantine, you'll isolate for a month, you'll go play in the middle of nowhere, you'll buy your own skates. Like you just want to play. And that, Haley, I think is the most insulting thing, is that there's not even the respect to say, just let them play or find a way to let them play. Like, don't worry about the rest. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the broadcast rights. Don't worry about the marketing. Like, how much does it cost to let you guys play? And why isn't someone figuring that out, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I mean, Erika, you kind of said it, like, we're so flexible. We'll go and do anything just to play hockey. And I think that's been the mindset of all women's hockey players, literally our entire career, is that, like, any way that we can play, we don't care what we're eating. We don't care where we have to train. I mean, like, everyone's situation is different. A lot of us train by ourselves. I mean, I'm going to train at Experience Fitness after this at a local gym. I mean, I wish things were easier where we had, you know, a rink that hosted us, a rink that, you know, a gym that I can go to, and I'm going to be able to get the best out of myself. But it's just, everyone's in a different situation. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to be as flexible as possible to be able to play in a tournament, to be able to compete at the highest level on the biggest stage that we can for that year.
What do you think will happen with the Olympics? Like, where are your heads at on the Olympics? Like, where's your heart at?
I'm very mixed.
Why are you mixed, Alex? Mixed worried, mixed?
I'm mixed worried. In a way, like, I think we just need to get through the Summer Olympics, and, you know, hopefully that comes off as a success. And I think that's a problem. I don't want to say a problem, but, you know, I think it's just such a different year with what's happening, because the Summer Olympics are now 6 months prior to the Winter Olympics, rather than in the past, it's been a year and a half. There's usually like a year and a half in between. And so that's what's going to be very interesting about this upcoming summer. And I think everyone's just so focused on getting through the Summer Olympics that we just haven't even heard much on the Winter Olympics. And so I think that is going to be a kind of a telltale too. Like, if Tokyo is able to pull off the Summer Olympics, and then I think then they'll start looking more into Beijing, but that's also just an assumption on my end. I have no knowledge of anything that the IOC and all of that are working on, but for me, I think a lot of the focus just for sponsors and, fans and whatnot is the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, which are now 2021.
Yeah. How do you, how much do you guys worry about time? Like, how do you think about time? Like, time is just so cruel.
That's what I think is so hard right now. I think it's, we just had a world championship canceled on us, just, ripped from underneath us. And for us, we haven't had any international games in well over a year now. We haven't even played against Canada. We haven't, done any sort of prep work. And our Olympic residency is supposed to be starting in September. And, with things getting postponed, it just kind of messes up scheduling and tryouts and whatnot. So we're all just kind of on our toes, just kind of, like I said before, just holding our breaths, waiting for what's going to happen next. But, from our end as players, I'm very confident in our team that we'll be prepared with whatever they throw at us. That's just how we operate. That's just who we are. Like Brianna said, we're training on our own, most of us, and we're so dedicated to the sport. And I just don't think people oftentimes, understand everything that it is that we go through. And so for us, for you to be able to share your platform, for us to be able to share our, what we're going through. And like Haley was saying, it's not even us complaining. It's just the hard facts. Like, it's the hard truth of what it is that we deal with. So it's coming up fast. I mean, the Winter Olympics are less than a year away. And, for us, we've been together, like 3 times in the past year that we've gone together for prep work. So, yep, it's coming up fast.
What do you think, Bri?
Yeah, I think I look back at the camps that we've had this last year, the 2 camps that we have been able to go to, and it's such a different dynamic when you're trying out against the top players in the country. So that's why this camp leading up to the World Championships, it was unbelievable, because we're all there, we're all on the same team. The bench dynamic is a lot different. You're supporting each other. People aren't as uptight because they're trying to make a spot on the team. They're already on the team, and so you begin to gel. And I think that's the one thing through this pandemic, through scheduling, through cancellation, that's the one thing that we probably, have a disadvantage with, is that we don't have that team bonding, that natural team bonding. I mean, even with our pre-camp, we had to be in separate locker rooms than the defensemen and the goalies. Like, forwards were kind of split up, and it's just from a safety regulation of, leading into the tournament. But like the locker room, every sports athlete, every athlete knows that, like, the locker room is the best part.
Everything.
And you create so many memories. Everyone, people chirp each other, people make fun of each other, people are laughing, jokes are flying around, and you create those memories. And like, when you're done with sport, that's what you like look back at. You're like, oh my God, like, remember that happened and all that. So that's one thing that I definitely have missed over the last couple of years, is that those memories being made. And I think knock on wood, make the Olympic team get centralized in September. It's like, we want to be able to have the most like normal situation we can leading into the Olympics. And I want to be able to have those, opportunities to be together and be in the locker room together and make those memories and have it as normal as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do the guy players reach out? Or are they like, dude, that sucks? Or do they not say anything? Like, does anyone even know? Like, I can't decide if your like guy counterparts are like, oh shit, sorry, that sucks. If someone, like, one of the things that's happening in basketball is the men's players support the women, where they use their platform to create more awareness. I kind of see in hockey that the NHL teams give you guys the platform, like the P-Dub playing at MSG and the partnership with the Rangers. Like, I think those things are all really positive, but like when shit gets a little rough, there's really nobody to be found. Or are they like, oh wait, what happened? Like, give me do you cross-pollinate with the male pros or no? Do you not want to answer this?
Yeah. No.
I would say, like, personally, I have more interaction in the off season because I train with some of the NHL guys off season, but I mean, they're away doing their thing right now. And I know for them personally, it's been a hard year too. For us, we can easily say, well, at least they're playing games, but they're dealing with a lot of their own stuff too. And I know it's been a crazy year for them with COVID and everything, but personally, I haven't heard anyone. I haven't seen anything, but yeah. I know
Haley,
that these guys, that's the thing though. I know like the guys, like when I'm training with these guys, like they're so supportive and they see what we do and they respect us so much. And I think the players who are in contact with women's hockey players who understand it the most or have daughters, that they're the ones seeing. And I think that there is change that's going to happen within the NHL. I think you're starting to see a lot of the guys, you know, jump on board with supporting what we're doing. I mean, they had a great stick in the ground campaign for the PWHPA, and I think that they are gaining a lot of traction. You see some of the guys wearing around those hoodies and whatnot, but I think it's just more so on like the USA standpoint. I'm not sure exactly how informed they are on what's going on right now.
I think it just makes a difference. Like, look, like when I had my whole blow up over the NWHL, Dave's like, I don't give a shit about hockey, let alone women's hockey. But you want a hockey league, Erika? Like, I'll make a lot of noise. You can get a hockey league. You know what I mean? And I just wish that would happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know who the most obnoxious and Team USA player for the men is, but I wish that person would just be like, how much does it cost? These guys make a lot of money. There's a lot of athletes who make a lot of money. Like, I don't think what is being asked for you guys to play, like, I don't think you're unreasonable. Like, the saddest thing for this conversation is how scarred you are about being perceived as complaining. And I think that that's just such an easy way. You know, what's interesting about women's hockey is you are subjected to the most obvious stereotypes about women. They're like harping, complaining, unreasonable, emotional, unstable. And then on the athletic side, they're not as big, they're not as fast, they don't hit, they're not as interesting to watch. It you're getting it on both sides. And you guys are so sensitive because you're listening to that and you're internalizing it. And now you're like, we don't want to speak out because we don't want to seem like assholes. And it's like, well, you know, Alex, you're literally sitting on the floor outside of a hockey rink right now. So it's like, I don't think you have crazy expectations. Okay, so Haley, let's lighten it up for a second. So one of the games we played over our group chat is, what would the slogans be for women's hockey? So Haley, I'm going to look to you first. Like, if you were running the marketing campaign, either deeply cynical, or we're playing ad agency right now, like deeply cynical, or you can be positive. We'll probably start with cynical. Hit me with what the slogans are.
Well, one of them, you kind of touched on it yourself, is that women's hockey is so successful that the average age of retirement is 24 years old.
This is like, when we do the episode, we need to do the like, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like, okay. All right. This is good. Okay.
I'll do one more and then I'll pass it along. The other one is that the IIHF must have forgot that it's the Olympics that's every 4 years and not the Women's World Championships.
Amazing. All right, who else got one? Otherwise, I can jump in.
All right. Well, go ahead, Riggs. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, women's pro hockey, where you pay to play.
Okay, go Bree.
All right, I just have the women's hockey. All we do is train no matter what. Got games on our mind, but no one gives a fuck.
Amazing. Okay. All right. So I'm going to add Women's Worlds just got inducted into the Guinness Book World Records Hall of Fame for the longest consecutive day without having a tournament. Then we had, what else do we got? We have some good ones here.
There's this one. If a kitchen hosted the Women's Worlds, then the IIHF wouldn't cancel it.
Then we had like women's pro hockey, where we work our day jobs in between periods of games.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
That's a
There's
fact.
evidence to back that up.
Yep. All right. So let's go there. Give us a sense of like day in the life. Like if you can either use you guys or use someone you know, but give a sense of like, because I think people don't realize that so much. Like, give a sense of like all that you are juggling in addition to trying to be an elite player.
I can go here. So this is just for professional hockey, a day in the life. This doesn't pertain to the national team. However, I can also get into that because that was a different crazy day in the life. But as a women's professional hockey player, hockey is certainly secondary because your career is first. So a lot of us players who
You mean your like a make money business career?
Yeah, so a lot
Okay.
of the players, if you're not on the national team, you have to have a full-time job or multiple part-time jobs.
Yep.
And the hockey is really just for fun. I mean, my mom says it herself. She says to her friends that I play recreationally now because it's like the level that I put into it because I don't have time because I'm trying to make a living in a career that actually pays me fairly. So a lot of us pro players, if you want to train, you have to wake up before your job, before your 9 to 5, which is like, 5 in the morning. I did that this morning, work out, and then you work 9 to 5. And our professional practices are probably a couple times a week, but 5 o'clock hits and you have practice at 8 p.m. You drive an hour to practice where you're at this point exhausted. Practice and then go
you're
back.
Usually schlepping all your shit with you because you don't have a locker room.
Yeah, we back and forth upstairs flights.
Which, like anyone who's played hockey, that's a job in and of itself.
It's annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you do that throughout the course of the week. And then we have games showcases on weekends. So when people are saying, oh, like the, women's professional hockey is not like a good quality product because the players are literally exhausted from, working a day job and also trying to train. It's like, how can you expect these players to be the highest quality product when they don't have the resources or time to do so? And then you guys can speak on the national team day in the life. It's also insane, just in a completely different context.
Go for it, Riggs, if you want.
Well, typical day is for me, I just moved to St. Louis, Missouri. So I skate with a goalie coach in the morning. So I just do goalie lessons whenever I'm away from the national team. And so been lucky. My husband is able to come out and shoot on me. So keeps it competitive. And
do you pay for your own goalie coach or does somebody pay for that for you?
I pay.
Or is your husband your goalie coach?
No, I pay for it all. He's my personal shooter.
Okay, that's great. Everyone should have one of those.
He doesn't.
Yeah, okay. So out of your own pocket, you're paying a coach.
Yeah, so I'm paying for a coach. Very lucky with the rink here. I'm trained out of the Blues practice facility, and the rink, they're great to me. So I'm lucky in that aspect. And then I train with a strength coach, and I'm always trying to find someone else that I can partner up with because I can't afford to do a private strength session like the NHL guys that he trains with. And so oftentimes I'm training with high school athletes and whatnot. And so I'm training with them and then go home, eat, jump on some Zoom calls because I feel like our life is on Zoom these days with, everything that's going on. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm lucky that we're able to get supported with enough to get our training covered for the most part. Still paying out of pocket, but luckily I'm not having to find an extra job at this point, but maybe having to look for something soon.
That's also, I think, what's so hard is you don't know where your life is going. Like, how do you move your life forward when the thing you love the most, or one of the things you love the most, is like either on hold or going to happen sometime you're not sure. Brianna, sorry, go ahead, Alex.
I was just going to say that's the thing that's so hard with it is that we're always on standby. Like I said, like we don't even know when our Olympic tryouts are at this point. We don't know if we're going to have our world championships postponed. So it's so hard to schedule anything outside and, create a life for us too. So many of us are putting our lives on hold to play this sport, which we absolutely love and we're so happy to do so. But, like also too, I'd say with what Haley was talking about, the PWHPA, that region is in, the US regions are in Minnesota and in New Hampshire. So both Bri and I are living outside those regions, so we don't even get to practice with those teams. And I think that's what's tough too, is we go to these PWHPA showcases and we're on national television. We're we're playing at Madison Square Garden. We're playing at the United Center, and we're getting together with a team that I haven't met some of the players on the team, and we've never practiced together as a team. And here we are having to showcase women's hockey and going on national television. I think that's something that someone doesn't understand either. And like Haley was saying, is just, you know, creating that product that we want to strive for. We want to show people how talented we are, but you know, until we get the resources for every single player, the product isn't going to be able to showcase the way it should be.
Of course. Like, hey, they're not gelling, and you're like, I don't even know this chick.
Literally.
Exactly.
I remember like last year
I've never met her.
we were doing like a name game, like before the game. We were literally going around. I was like, I've never seen this person in my life. Like, what's your name? We're on the same line.
Brianna, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I think just everyone's always like, I'm always like, oh my God, they're gonna be like, oh my God, the power play was terrible for, you know, Team New Hampshire. I'm like, we haven't even practiced it. I don't even know which way I'm swinging in the corner on the breakout. Like little things like that. I'm like, of course we're gonna be behind the ball. We haven't even practiced it, so we're just going out of like pure instinct at that point. But going back to like the day in the life, as far as that, like to sum it up, a lot of us bank on like having great people who surround us. Like, hey, we'll give you free ice anytime you want. You know, you don't have to pay, you know, $200 to $300 an hour to come skate, you know. And I think that's one thing we're always, as women's hockey players, are so thankful for, like people who are going to help us out as far as giving us free ice or training us, you know, for free. And then like at the end of the month, I'll just, you know, shoot them a few $100 for helping me out. But I think the more people we can surround ourselves around, like who are like that, that's who the people we're gonna be thankful for and who really help, you know, get us to that next level and help us be successful. I have to drive an hour to, you know, have those resources. I, you know, have a few people down the road that can help me once in a while, but at the same time, I want to be able to be surrounded by a really great skills coach. And he's in Madison and I'm in Milwaukee. So it's just, we are thankful for those people, but it's, you know, not always, you don't always have that availability. Like Alex just said, she moved to St. Louis and then she's got to figure out, you know, where she can have a PT, where she can have a great massage therapist, where she can skate for a deal or for free, and who she can work with, who's going to give her a deal, because they all understand that we're in the same situation financially.
But you're also like big borrowing and stealing. Like, let's be honest, like it's like Alex's job to find like food for her family. She's got to take care of her house. Where am I going to practice? You're like, that person likes me. Maybe they'll give me some ice time. Yeah. I know this massage therapist. She's a friend of a friend. Like, it's just tough. I remember talking to Amanda Kessel last summer, and we were comparing notes on how much ice time we were getting. And then she said how much ice time she got. And then I was like, I can't give my other half because it's twice what she gets. And like, that's insane. That's just insane. Okay, so talk about the PW a little bit. So PWHPA, you guys have all played for PWHPA. Give a sense, give people, you know, I think most people who listen to this understand the mission, but it'd be great to hear it from your perspective of what's the mission of the PWHPA? Where do you think it goes? What are you guys looking for? Somebody give me that point of view.
Yeah, the PWHPA, I mean, just so everyone's aware, it's the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association. So it's not technically a league. It's more so the in-between what we do every year this season. It's called the Dream Gap Tour. Like, it's literally a gap between the other professional leagues we were playing in and then this new, hopefully really sustainable, which we always say the word sustainable, and I hate saying that, but it's true. Like, that's the goal, is to have a professional women's hockey league where women can play with, I mean, it's like the proper facilities for training, competitive and consistent practices and games, marketing, and just a living wage. Like, that's kind of our tangible goals for this PW is what we call it, which I don't think is asking for a whole lot. And every year and every weekend we kind of work towards this, is just so these players don't have to have other jobs. And the more, you know, players we can have training and playing competitively full time, the better the women's professional hockey product will be, because upon graduating from college, it's either you're on a national team and it's your full-time job because you're doing professional hockey and national team level stuff, or good luck. Like, you're just going to have to play for fun, basically, and work and then professional hockey. So our goal is to have the PWHP ultimately morph into a league where that is your full-time job. And it's a serious, legit platform with the proper support. And we've gotten like, Bauer has been unbelievable in helping us. Adidas, like there have been some serious sponsors step up and support us. And we've noticed a difference with that. So there definitely is positive momentum with playing at MSG on NHL Network, playing at the United Center in Chicago on NBC Sports this year was pretty incredible, despite especially all the COVID stuff. So we have some momentum, but like our biggest thing is like not being complacent. Like we're grateful for these opportunities, but we just have to continue pushing forward because that's the only way we're going to ultimately make this a real league.
And what do you think that you need, Haley, to push it forward the next mile?
I think a huge thing is the exposure and the accessibility. Like we have when we're on like NBC Sports and NHL Network,
that's amazing.
Like it's people watch, they're able to see. I mean, I remember trying to watch like one of the national team games last year. Not last year because they didn't play any. 4 years ago or 3 years ago, the last time they played, and I'm like looking through hockey TV, like live barn feeds. And I'm someone who's like very aware of like how to find these types of things. I'm like, a little girl and her family who wants to watch this game, they're not going to be able to. And this is like Team USA. And I think like that starts with, the marketing platform of the sport. Like if you have to see it to be it. We also say that, but like you have to be able to watch these games in order to know that the PWHP exists, and then like the actual support around making sure these players have the proper resources to train and be their best.
Maybe meet one another before they get on the ice.
Exactly. So,
Brianna, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Haley hits it. And we all say it, like you got to see it to believe it. And like the visibility, I go back to like from a US standpoint, like everyone loves to watch us play every 4 years at the Olympics. But again, typically when there's no COVID or anything like that, we're playing every single year at the World Championships. But these same girls who are playing in the PWHPA we play on the weekends, and there's all these Olympians, there's all these national team players, plus unbelievable like XD1 college players who are playing in these Dream Gap games that could be playing and showcased every single weekend. And I know fans and viewers wouldn't be disappointed watching our games, because if they enjoy the Olympics every 4 years and watching us compete, those are the same players that are playing in this league. And I just feel like the more visibility we can get, that's how our game's going to grow. That's how we're going to have something more sustainable within the next few years. That's our goal, obviously, to have it become something bigger and better sooner than later.
And Alex, any final thoughts for you?
I think they all, hit it home, but yeah, I think it's just creating that league that, like Haley said, you hate to say it, but sustainable. We've been a part of the CWHL, the Canadian Women's Hockey League, that folded. That wasn't sustainable. That was losing money, but it was a great product. And now there's another one in place, just same thing, not necessarily sustainable here. And so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something that is going to be around. It's going to be around for when those little girls are watching us play at home, that they can someday play in that league, that this league is not going anywhere, that they're able to support the players, provide us with, the littlest things that you don't even think about that we don't get, like sock tape, just stuff like that, where it's just like mind-blowing stuff that you're like, okay, the league didn't provide you with, tape. Like you don't have the proper trainers, you don't have equipment managers, stuff like that. And so I think just be able to have those resources and having, the support staff that is able to help create that product. We say it all the time with our US team. We are so thankful for the team behind the team. The staff members that are all so incredible, that help us do our jobs the best that we can. And that's what we're looking for too at a pro league, is having that staff that's able to help us put that product on the ice, and that we're able to perform at our best, and be able to have girls move to a different city and not have to worry about getting a job because they can live off this
They have a job.
salary. Yeah, like this is their job. That playing hockey is their job. And when they get out of college, they don't have to choose, am I going to have a career or am I going to continue to live out this dream of playing hockey? And I think that's what's so sad, is having to see these women choose, you know, these phenomenal athletes who have no business hanging them up and having to get a career, like Haley, for instance, phenomenal athlete. And for her to have to choose a job is just like so heartbreaking. I mean, there's no reason that she shouldn't be able to continue to play hockey and have that be her job.
Yep. I think that's very, very well put. You know, I think sustainable is a funny word. Like, it's not a motivating word. I think that the part of the marketing problem in women's hockey is, like, one, the acronym SOUP, which I've talked about, which nobody can figure out what team is what or what league is what or what association is what. Like, it's just like, it's consonants everywhere. It is, let's be honest.
My mom continues to mix it up too.
I'm like, could we come out with a name? Could we just have a name? Like, but I think the point is, look, I think if there's anything that we should like sum this up with, which is, one, you are incredible people who will go on to do incredible things in your life just by virtue of the grit and the stamina and the heart that you have, let alone your extreme gifts athletically. Like, I think you three are amazing, and I know that there are dozens other women who are just like you. I think the second thing that's tragic is that what you're asking for is a chance to play and play well. And you're being denied both of those things. One, you're being denied, in the case of the World, a chance to play when your male counterparts are given that chance. You're being asked for small things like a contingency plan for COVID, which seems like we're a year plus into this thing. Like, you would think contingency plans around COVID would be a normal course of business. It's obviously normal course of business if you're a man, and it's not if you're a woman. And then I think the second thing, which you guys don't talk about so much, this is the first time I'm really hearing it from you, is just, yeah, you want there to be a great product on the ice. Like, I'm obsessed with watching Brie. I'm like, my eyes are just like focused on her on the ice always. But you don't think about the fact that she doesn't know her line mates, or you don't spend any time with your coach, and you don't necessarily know what the play is, or you don't really know you have no intelligence on whoever you're playing. Like, I think the other thing, it's almost self-defeating in that you can criticize women for complaining. You're asking for something that's fair. I think you can criticize the product. You're asking to have you're not asking to be rich. I don't hear any of you being like, I want to be rich, so I'm sticking with women's hockey. But what you're asking is for sock tape or a trainer, or to not have to pay $300 out of your pocket when you don't have $300 to be able to get on the ice, or to be able to get a massage, or to be able to get someone to shoot on you. And I think that you guys deserve that. And I hope that somebody listening to this, you know, gets motivated to help. And I think you guys deserve that. All right. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you. Yeah,
All right. Did that work for
Thank
you?
you very much.
Was that good? Okay, good.
That was
All right.
great.
We'll
Yeah.
do it tomorrow.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. All right. We'll see you guys later. Thank you
Awesome.
so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Okay. Bye,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Bye.
Bye.